If she does this, you already have her psychology tricks. Love doesn't announce itself with words. It shows up quietly in behavior. Take a second. Slow your breath. What I'm about to say is meant for you, not for everyone else. At some point, every man reaches this quiet crossroads in his mind. You start asking yourself a question you may never say out loud. Is this real for her? Or am I reading too much into it? Here's the truth most men never learn. If a woman has feelings for you, she won't come right out and declare it. She won't hand you certainty on a silver platter. She won't say, "You already have me." Instead, she watches. She pays attention to how you handle pressure. She notices how you respond when things don't go your way. She feels your energy before she ever trusts your words. What looks like mixed signals to you is often her quiet evaluation. She's not confused. She's deciding. And by the time you start sensing something has changed, by the time you catch those subtle shifts in her behavior, she's already much further along emotionally than you realize. Men think love begins with a confession. In reality, it begins with observation. If you know what to look for, you won't need reassurance. The signs will speak for her, long before she ever does. 1. She softens when she feels safe. She softens when she feels safe, and this moment is quieter than most men realize, yet it speaks louder than any confession. So let me pull you into a scene you've almost certainly lived before, one that felt ordinary on the surface, but carried a deeper signal underneath it all. You're talking to her, maybe face to face after a long day, maybe on the phone when the world has finally slowed down, and somewhere in the middle of the conversation, without warning, her voice changes, not dramatically, not in a way that demands attention, but subtly, gently, almost like the air in the room has shifted. And don't mistake this moment for fatigue or politeness. Don't tell yourself she's just being nice, because this softness is not random, and it is not accidental. It is the body responding before the mind can interfere. That is female psychology in its most honest form, because a woman does not soften her voice for someone she doesn't trust. She doesn't lower her tone unless her nervous system is quietly saying, "I'm calm here. I don't need armor." And that calm is everything. Be clear about this. Safety is not about money, status, or clever lines. Safety is about how she feels when she's near you, how her body reacts when she speaks, how her breath slows without her noticing. And this is where most men miss the signal, because they're trained to look for obvious signs, compliments, affection, big gestures, when the real message is whispered, not announced. So don't rush past it. Don't talk over it. Don't try to impress in that moment, because when her voice softens, she is already leaning in emotionally, whether she knows it or not. And this is one of those psychology tricks that isn't a trick at all. It's awareness, it's presence, it's understanding how to fall in love by not forcing anything, by letting safety do the work for you. Notice how she slows her words, how she doesn't feel the need to fill every silence, how her sentences stretch just a little longer. That is her saying, without saying it, "I'm okay here." And you must understand how rare that is in a world where most people feel rushed, guarded, and slightly on edge. So if she gives you this softness, don't test it. Don't challenge it. Don't turn the moment into a performance. Be steady. Be grounded. Be exactly where you are, because safety grows when nothing is demanded. And here's the deeper layer most men never hear about. This softness isn't about submission or weakness. It's about trust. It's about her nervous system deciding that you are not a source of pressure, that you don't need her to be anything other than herself. And that decision happens fast and deep, long before logic steps in. This is why female psychology often feels mysterious, because it operates below words, below plans, below intention. And when her voice lowers, she is unconsciously inviting you closer, not physically, but emotionally. She is opening a door that she keeps closed around most people. And that is why this is such a powerful signal, because attraction built on safety lasts longer than attraction built on excitement alone. Excitement burns hot and fast. Safety warms slowly and stays. So if you're wondering how to fall in love in a way that actually lasts, start here. Start by being the man she can exhale around, the man who listens without fixing, who speaks without pressure, who doesn't need to control the moment to feel confident. And don't confuse this with passivity. Safety is strength without noise. It's certainty without force. And women feel that instantly. That is why these psychology tricks work best when they don't feel like tricks at all. Because the moment you try to manipulate softness, it disappears. But when you create an environment where she feels seen, unjudged, and unhurried, her voice will tell the story for you, again and again. And when you hear it, don't doubt it. Don't downplay it. Don't tell yourself it means nothing. That softness is her body saying yes before her mind has caught up. And if you respect it, if you protect it, if you remain consistent, you'll notice something else over time. She'll start sharing more, laughing more freely, leaning into conversations instead of away from them because safety compounds. It builds, and eventually it becomes attachment. This is female psychology in motion. This is how to fall in love without chasing, without convincing, without exhausting yourself. So pay attention, stay present, and remember this one truth. When a woman softens her voice with you, you are already closer than you think, and that is the first quiet sign that you already have her. 2. Her uncontrolled moments reveal the truth. Her uncontrolled moments reveal the truth, and this is where experienced men stop guessing and start seeing clearly. Because real emotional attachment is not polished, it is not rehearsed, and it never follows the script you were sold in movies or social media. It shows itself when effort disappears, when self-control relaxes, when she forgets to manage impressions, and in those seconds, you see who you are to her without asking a single question. Because attachment lives in the unguarded space, in the pause that lingers, in the look that stays half a second longer than necessary, not driven by desire alone, but by recognition, as if she is silently saying, "You matter to me." And this is Old Stoic wisdom in action, the understanding that truth reveals itself in behavior, not in promises. Something Marcus Aurelius warned about when he said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Because people show you what they feel by how they behave when no performance is required. And when a woman is emotionally invested, her eyes soften before her words do, her reactions come faster than her logic, her concern appears without strategy, and her attention returns to you even when nothing is demanded of her. And if you are paying attention, you will notice she listens differently, remembers small details without effort, reacts to your mood shifts intuitively, and mirrors your emotional state without realizing it. And this is not fantasy. It is psychology grounded in reality, because the nervous system cannot fake consistency under pressure, which is why Stoicism Win is not about controlling others, but about mastering yourself enough to observe calmly. Because men who chase validation miss signals, while men with an iron mind read patterns, and patterns never lie. And modern life makes this harder because we live in a world of noise, constant messaging, curated images, and emotional shortcuts. Yet the fundamentals have not changed, because human attachment still leaks through the cracks. And when she is emotionally connected, she will reveal it in moments of vulnerability, moments of frustration, moments of spontaneous laughter, moments when she seeks your presence, not for excitement, but for grounding. And this aligns with what Seneca taught when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Because many men suffer by overthinking words instead of watching actions, inventing stories instead of noticing behavior. And the advice here is simple and decisive. Stop chasing signs and start observing reactions. Stop forcing outcomes and start maintaining your frame. Because when you are steady, composed, and self-respecting, her emotional truth has space to surface naturally. And this is where old Stoic wisdom meets modern psychology, because calm presence invites honesty, and emotional safety invites authenticity. And if you want real clarity, build an iron mind, not to suppress feeling, but to regulate it, to remain centered when emotions rise, yours and hers. Because emotional maturity attracts emotional investment, and this is how Stoicism Win plays out in real life, not as distance, but as grounded strength. And remember the words of Friedrich Nietzsche, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Because when you know your values, your purpose, and your direction, you no longer need to interrogate affection. You recognize it when it appears, and you walk away when it does not, without bitterness, without panic, and without forcing connection. And this is the victory mindset, the mastery of life, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that genuine attachment cannot be negotiated or extracted. It must be revealed. And it always is, in unguarded moments, in consistent presence, in emotional alignment. And your role is not to control the outcome, but to become the man whose stability makes truth inevitable. And when you live this way, guided by Old Stoic wisdom, reinforced by an iron mind, and focused on Stoicism win, you stop chasing clarity and start attracting it. Because the strongest position a man can hold is calm certainty. And from that place, everything becomes obvious. If this message hit home, don't just think about it, act on it. Real connection isn't chased, it's recognized, and men who see clearly never beg for clarity. So drop a comment right now and lock this truth into your mind. I don't chase signs, I recognize truth. Like this video, subscribe for more battle-tested psychological insight, and remind yourself every day, when her emotions slip, her truth speaks, and a man who is calm, grounded, and aware already has the advantage. 3. Her energy never lies. That is the quiet truth most men overlook. Words can be edited, messages can be delayed, smiles can be practiced. But energy? Energy tells the story before the mouth ever opens. Be clear about this. A woman's energy does not lie. When she is emotionally connected to you, her entire presence shifts without permission from her mind. You don't have to interrogate it. You don't have to chase proof. You simply observe. And observation is a skill every high-value man must master. When she's already yours, her energy becomes warmer, lighter, more open. Not dramatic, not theatrical, subtle, natural. Her body angles toward you without effort. Her shoulders soften as if she can finally put something down. Her tone changes, slower, smoother, less guarded. That is not strategy. That is instinct. Be calm enough to notice it. Don't rush. Don't interrupt the moment. Let it reveal itself. Her presence adapts around yours. That is the key detail most men miss. She adjusts without thinking. She matches your pace. She mirrors your mood. She stays longer than planned. She relaxes into silence instead of filling it with noise. This is comfort, and comfort cannot be faked for long. A woman can fake interest for attention. She cannot fake comfort without exhausting herself. That is the difference. That is the signal. Be honest with yourself here. In modern life, men are trained to look for validation through words, emojis, constant reassurance. That is a mistake. Don't chase signals that can be manufactured. Watch for responses that come from the body and nervous system. Energy is automatic. Energy is honest. Energy responds to masculine energy that is grounded, calm, and self-directed. This is how you attract women without performing for them. You must also understand this. Her energy responds to who you are, not what you say. A high-value man doesn't probe. He doesn't demand clarity. He doesn't push for emotional confessions. He holds his frame. He stays composed. He allows space. And in that space, truth surfaces. That is how you attract women who feel safe, engaged, and naturally drawn in. Don't confuse excitement with connection. Excitement is loud. Connection is quiet. Excitement seeks stimulation. Connection seeks alignment. When her energy settles instead of spikes, when she leans in rather than shows off, when she becomes more herself instead of more impressive, that is your confirmation. Be present enough to see it. Masculine energy is not force. It is steadiness. It is emotional regulation. It is knowing you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. When you embody that, her energy responds without effort. She opens, she relaxes, she adjusts. That is why a high-value man never argues with behavior. He reads it. So here is the instruction. Don't chase interest. Observe comfort. Be grounded. Be patient. Be consistent. Let her energy speak first. When it does, believe it. That is how you attract women who are already leaning towards you. That is how masculine energy creates clarity without confrontation. And that is how a high-value man moves through modern dating with calm certainty instead of confusion. 4. Conflict shows care, not rejection. Conflict does not mean rejection, and you must stop treating it like a warning sign, because when she reacts, when she argues, when she shows emotion, that is not distance. That is connection trying to breathe. Pay attention during conflict. Be present. Be steady. Don't shut down and don't assume the worst. If she raises a concern, if she pushes back, if her feelings spill out awkwardly, she is not pushing you away. She is pulling you closer in the only language that feels honest to her in that moment. Indifference is the real danger. Silence is the real exit. A woman who doesn't care doesn't react at all, because there is nothing inside her worth protecting. But a woman who cares feels deeply, and deep feelings are rarely neat. They arrive loud. They arrive layered. They arrive imperfect. That is female psychology at work, not a flaw, but a signal. You must understand this if you want real connection. Men often think harmony equals love, but that belief quietly kills attraction. Growth requires friction. Intimacy requires truth. Conflict, when handled with maturity, is proof that she believes the bond can hold weight. Don't confuse emotional expression with instability. That mistake costs men relationships they never realized were still alive. When she challenges you, she is inviting you to stand firm, not to disappear. When she questions something, she is testing safety, not control. Be calm, be grounded, listen fully before reacting. That is how trust deepens. That is how respect grows. This is one of the most misunderstood psychology tricks in modern dating, because men are taught to avoid tension instead of learning how to lead through it. If you stay present, if you respond with clarity instead of defensiveness, if you hold your frame without dismissing her feelings, something powerful happens. Attraction stabilizes. Emotional safety increases. Love has room to grow. This is how to fall in love in a way that lasts, not through constant agreement, but through mutual engagement. Remember this clearly. Silence is not peace. Silence is absence. When she goes quiet, when she stops reacting, when she no longer cares enough to explain herself, that is when the connection is truly slipping away. A woman who argues is still invested. A woman who expresses frustration still sees a future worth fixing. A woman who feels strongly still believes you matter. Don't punish honesty. Don't withdraw because it feels uncomfortable. Be the man who can handle emotion without being shaken by it. That strength is rare, and it is deeply attractive. This understanding of female psychology separates men who lose meaningful connections from men who build lasting ones. Use these psychology tricks wisely, not to manipulate, but to understand. Understanding leads to patience. Patience leads to trust. Trust leads to love. And if you ever want to know how to fall in love in a way that feels real, mutual, and enduring, start here. Don't fear conflict, respect it, because when she reacts, she is still choosing you. If this message opened your eyes, don't scroll past it. Like the video, share it with a man who still misunderstands conflict, and subscribe for more insight that actually changes how you see connection. Now lock this lesson into your mind by commenting this below, because what you repeat, you remember. Her emotions mean she cares. Silence means she's already gone. 5. She allows your influence. She allows your influence, and that quiet permission tells you more than any dramatic declaration ever could. Another sign most men overlook is this simple truth. She lets you influence her life. She listens when you speak, not just to reply, but to understand. She reflects on your words later, when you're not even in the room. She asks what you think, not out of habit, but because your perspective matters to her. That is not coincidence. That is choice. A woman only allows influence from a man she respects, and respect does not appear out of thin air. Respect grows where feelings exist, where trust feels safe, and where consistency replaces noise. Don't dismiss this moment. Be aware of it. You must understand that influence is never forced. It is invited. When she opens that door, it means she sees you as a high-value man, someone whose presence improves her decisions rather than confuses them. This is how real attraction matures. It's subtle, it's calm, it's steady. Many men think attraction is about impressing or persuading, but that belief misses the point. To attract women long-term, your words must carry weight because your actions already do. When she pauses to consider your opinion, when she changes course after hearing your thoughts, when she seeks your guidance without being asked, that is masculine energy working quietly in the background. Don't boast about it. Don't push it. Be grounded. Influence grows strongest when it is never demanded. This is where most men lose their footing. They talk too much. They explain too hard. They try to prove instead of simply being. You must do the opposite. Be calm. Be clear. Say less, mean more. When your life is aligned, your influence feels natural, not performative. This is why a high-value man doesn't chase agreement. He invites reflection. He doesn't rush decisions. He models stability. And that stability is what helps attract women who are serious about connection, not just attention. Notice how this works emotionally. She feels safe enough to listen. She feels curious enough to ask. She feels open enough to adjust. That openness is not submission. It is trust. And trust is born from masculine energy that feels reliable, not overwhelming. Don't confuse influence with control. Influence is earned through presence, integrity, and patience. When she values your input, it's because your life already demonstrates direction. This is one of the clearest indicators that feelings are growing beneath the surface. Respect doesn't follow attraction, it deepens it. And when respect and attraction move together, something lasting forms. Be the man whose words don't need repetition. Be the man whose advice feels grounding, not pressuring. You must remember this. When a woman invites your influence, she is inviting you into her inner world. That invitation is rare. Handle it with care. Lead with clarity. Stay steady in who you are. That is how masculine energy becomes irresistible. That is how a high-value man naturally learns how to attract women without forcing a single step. 6. Vulnerability is the deepest proof. Vulnerability is not a casual act, and it is never accidental, because when a woman opens the door to her inner world, she is making a deliberate choice rooted in trust, safety, and emotional clarity. And this is where many men misunderstand the game of connection in modern life, chasing surface signals while ignoring the deepest proof that they are already chosen. When a woman shares her fears, her uncertainties, her past experiences, and the moments she rarely speaks about, she is not seeking entertainment, validation, or attention. She is signaling alignment. And as Maya Angelou famously said, people will never forget how you made them feel, because feelings are the real currency of human bonds, and no one invests that currency lightly. Understand this clearly and without confusion. Women do not reveal their inner landscape to men they see as temporary. They do not remove emotional armor for men they plan to forget, and they do not expose their raw edges to someone they do not respect. So when she speaks openly, when her guard lowers, when her voice softens and her truth comes out, the decision has already been made. And your role at that moment is not to impress, fix, or perform, but to hold steady, because strength is proven by calm presence, not noise. This is where Old Stoic wisdom applies with absolute precision, reminding us that mastery is quiet, patience is power, and restraint is authority. And Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly when he said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury," meaning you do not react emotionally, you respond intentionally, you do not rush, you remain grounded, you stay composed, because an iron mind does not panic when responsibility arrives, it stands firm. In today's fast-moving world where conversations are rushed, emotions are broadcast online, and attention is traded cheaply, vulnerability has become rare and therefore valuable. And when a woman offers it to you, she is testing one thing only. Can this man remain centered? Can he listen without judgment? Can he carry weight without collapsing under it? And this is exactly where Stoicism Win strategies separate men who lead from men who chase. You do not interrogate her openness, you do not exploit it, and you do not retreat from it. You acknowledge it with presence, consistency, and integrity, because as Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. And what you have to do in that moment is simple. Be reliable, be steady, be clear, because clarity is attractive and confusion is expensive. Remember this and repeat it until it becomes instinct. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is selection. It is filtering. It is her way of saying this space matters. And if you handle it correctly, you don't need tricks, games, or manipulation, because trust compounds faster than charm ever will. And this is where Old Stoic wisdom, Stoicism win, and an iron mind merge into a single principle. Emotional discipline creates emotional safety, and emotional safety creates loyalty. Men who master this understand that victory in life is not loud. It is consistent. It is built through controlled reactions, thoughtful words, and dependable behavior. And in a modern world filled with distraction, the man who can listen deeply, remain composed, and act with purpose becomes rare by default, and rarity creates value. Take this as instruction, not theory. When she opens up, slow down. Stay present. Respond with grounded confidence and lead with calm certainty, because when you can hold vulnerability without fear, you demonstrate mastery. And mastery always attracts, always endures, and always wins. This is Stoicism win in action. This is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern relationships. This is the power of an iron mind. And when you live this way, you don't chase connection. Connection finds you, because you have already become the man worth opening up to. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video, share it with a man who needs this clarity, and subscribe to the channel for more timeless wisdom on confidence, connection, and self-mastery. Now let's anchor this lesson into your mindset. When a woman opens her inner world to you, it's a sign of trust, safety, and emotional alignment, and that begins with the man you choose to be every day. Comment this affirmation below to lock it in and interact with the channel. I am a man she trusts because I lead with calm, strength, and presence. Write it in the comments now. Repetition builds belief. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior shapes destiny. 7. She chooses you in small ways. There is a subtle shift that most men miss because it doesn't announce itself with fireworks, and that is exactly why it matters. Because one quiet day she stops measuring you and starts feeling you, and from that moment on she chooses you in small ways that don't look dramatic but change everything. And you must pay attention to this if you want to understand female psychology at a deeper level and truly grasp how to fall in love without forcing it or chasing illusions. She chooses you when she notices the tone of your voice before you explain your words, when she feels a slight tension and it stays with her longer than it should, when you pull back a little and instead of feeling relieved, she feels concerned, not because she doubts herself, but because your presence has begun to matter to her inner world. Don't confuse this with fragility. Don't label it as neediness. That is a mistake many men make when they don't understand psychology tricks rooted in emotional connection rather than surface behavior. This is emotional investment, taking shape quietly, naturally, almost invisibly, and once it begins, it grows through ordinary moments, not grand gestures. She rearranges small parts of her life without announcing it, shifts her schedule, changes how she plans her days, leaves space for you without asking permission from anyone, and that is not coincidence, that is choice. Be clear about this. People do not reorganize their lives for things that do not matter. That is a rule you must remember if you want to understand female psychology beyond cliches. She becomes sensitive to your moods, not because she feels responsible for them, but because your emotional weather has started to influence her internal balance. And when your energy changes, she feels it before you speak, and that awareness is a sign that attachment has already begun. Don't rush to test it. Don't poke it for reassurance. That is not how you handle emotional investment. You must stay grounded, present, and consistent, because emotional safety is built through steadiness, not pressure. This is where many so-called psychology tricks fail, because they focus on control instead of connection. But real connection doesn't need manipulation, it needs understanding. When she starts caring about how you feel on a random Tuesday, when she checks in without a reason, when your silence feels louder to her than your words, that is not strategy on her part, that is instinct responding to attachment. Be smart enough to recognize it. Be calm enough not to disrupt it. That is how to fall in love without pushing it out of alignment. Emotional investment is not loud, it is consistent, and consistency is the language of trust. She doesn't say, "I choose you." She shows it through concern, through adjustment, through awareness, through presence, and if you dismiss those signs because they don't look dramatic, you miss the moment entirely. Don't demand proof. Don't force clarity too early. That is how connection retreats. Instead, match her investment with stability. Be clear. Be emotionally available without being overwhelming. That is how attraction deepens in a way that lasts. When you understand these patterns, you stop chasing attention and start recognizing alignment. And that is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in modern dating. Female psychology is not about games, it is about response. And when she responds to you emotionally, when your absence registers, when your mood matters, when your presence subtly shapes her choices, you are already in a different category than most men. Respect that space, protect it, don't overthink it. That is how to fall in love in a way that feels natural, grounded, and real, because the strongest bonds are built quietly, through small choices repeated over time. And once you see that, you stop wondering where you stand and start understanding exactly why you're there. 8. Emotional honesty is her gift. Emotional honesty is her gift, and you must understand the weight of that sentence before you move another step, because this is not casual sharing and it is not random openness. It is a deliberate choice, and the rarest sign is this: she chooses emotional honesty with you. When she tells you what scares her, when she admits what she wants without dressing it up, when she shares what she truly feels instead of what sounds safe, that is her way of saying, "You matter to me." Keep that quote exactly where it belongs, because it is the quiet truth underneath every word she offers. Don't brush past it. Don't downplay it. That is not small talk. That is trust taking shape. When a woman gives you her vulnerability, she's giving you her heart, not as a dramatic gesture, but as a careful offering. And you must treat it with the steadiness of a high-value man who understands that real connection is built on respect, not reaction. Be present, be calm, be grounded. Emotional honesty is not a test you pass by having the perfect response. It is a space you hold by listening without rushing to fix, explain, or defend. That is how you attract women who are serious about connection, because safety is felt long before it is spoken. She doesn't open up because she wants attention. She opens up because she senses emotional stability in you, and that matters more than charm. When she talks about her fears, she is not asking you to remove them. When she talks about her desires, she is not asking you to become someone else. She is letting you see her inner world, and that requires courage on her part and maturity on yours. Don't interrupt, don't minimize, don't turn her truth into a debate. Be steady, be respectful. That is masculine energy in its most attractive form, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself because it is already anchored. A high-value man understands that emotional honesty is not about intensity, it is about consistency, and consistency is what allows trust to deepen without pressure. This is how you attract women who don't play games, because they recognize when a man can hold space without collapsing into silence or control. There is a reason emotional honesty feels rare, and that reason is simple. It carries risk. When she says what scares her, she risks being misunderstood. When she says what she wants, she risks being judged. When she says what she feels, she risks being dismissed. And yet she still speaks, because with you, she feels that the risk is worth it. That is not luck. That is response. That is the result of how you show up when things are quiet and unscripted. Don't rush to label the connection. Don't demand certainty. Be patient. Be clear in your actions. That is how masculine energy creates emotional safety without force. When you respond with calm strength instead of emotional distance, you reinforce her choice to be open, and openness, once supported, turns into attachment. This is not manipulation. This is understanding how emotional bonds actually form. A high-value man doesn't extract vulnerability. He receives it with care. You matter to me. Those words may never be spoken out loud, but they live inside every honest confession she shares with you. When she chooses emotional honesty, she is choosing alignment over performance, truth over image, connection over convenience. Don't take that lightly. Don't mishandle it. You must recognize that this is how you attract women who are ready for something real, because emotional honesty is the foundation of lasting attraction. Masculine energy is not loud. It is reliable. It is calm under pressure. It is attentive without being invasive. When you embody that, emotional honesty flows naturally toward you, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Be the man who listens without flinching. Be the man who responds without judgment. Be the man who understands that when a woman gives you her vulnerability, she's giving you her heart, and that gift, once respected, changes the dynamic forever. Hey, my friend, I'm really glad you stayed with me until the very end. Now, let me speak to you honestly, man to man. This isn't about tricks, pressure, or trying to control emotions. Real psychology isn't manipulation. It's understanding human nature. If she softens around you, if she naturally adjusts to your rhythm, if she feels uneasy when you pull back, if she chooses you in the small, quiet moments, not just the big ones, then understand this clearly. You already matter to her deeply. And notice something important here. It's not because you talked smoothly. It's not because you showed off success, money, or status. It's because of how she feels when she's with you. Here's the truth most men miss. A woman doesn't fall in love with excitement alone. Excitement fades. What stays is safety. Safety to be soft. Safety to be imperfect. Safety to speak without fear of being judged or abandoned. Safety to be herself, fully, honestly, without acting. So my sincere advice to you is this. Stop chasing reactions. Stop testing her feelings. Stop pulling away just to see if she'll come back. Instead, become grounded. Be consistent in how you show up. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Listen more than you speak. Lead calmly, not aggressively. Be present, not anxious. When you create emotional safety, you don't need to convince her of anything. Her heart moves on its own. And if she's already showing these signs, respect that connection. Don't rush it. Don't get careless. Protect the bond you're building, because real strength isn't loud. Real confidence doesn't beg. And real attraction grows when a woman feels at peace around you. If this message resonated with you, take it seriously and apply it quietly. Growth speaks louder than words. Stay solid, stay authentic, and the right woman will choose you without being asked.